Welcome to section 11.17, part 3. This is the 123rd session of the CISSP exam prep series. This part shifts from the network core to the devices at its edges. Endpoint security. In this session, we'll secure the endpoints, not just the network. We'll answer several questions. What does endpoint security actually mean? Why did distributed computing make this harder? What new vulnerabilities does it introduce? And how do you safeguard against them? And how have detection and response tools evolved to keep up? Why does this matter beyond the exam? Because attackers rarely bother with your hardened core when a laptop is easier. Picture a consulting firm where every analyst carries a laptop full of client data through cafes and trains. One unpatched machine or one stolen device can undo every dollar spent on the perimeter. Endpoint security is where the theory of defense in depth meets the messy reality of real people and real devices. What does endpoint security actually mean? It means each device is responsible for its own protection, regardless of whatever security the network provides. Sometimes this is phrased as the end device defending itself. But the sharper truth is that any weak point anywhere, on the border, on a server, or on a single client, puts the entire organization at risk. So endpoint security is not about trusting the network to cover you. It is about hardening every last device as if it stood alone. Think of a ship with watertight compartments. One flooded cabin should never be allowed to sink the whole vessel. Why did distributed computing make security harder? Because it scattered the things worth protecting. Computing moved from a central model, where everything lived on one guarded system, to a client-server model, where independent desktops both do their own work and reach out to network servers. Now processing and storage sit spread across many clients and many servers, and even the links between them may stretch beyond the local site. Security can no longer camp at one central host. It has to be addressed everywhere at once, on every machine and across every connection. Picture a company that moved all its cash from one guarded vault into 1,000 small tills, each of which now needs its own lock. What new vulnerabilities does a distributed environment introduce? Ones that a single central system never faced. Desktops and laptops hold sensitive data, yet are operated by users who may lack security awareness, so the architecture has to compensate. Those same machines are doorways to critical systems, and if misused or compromised, they become threats themselves. Communication gear like modems and wireless adapters can open unwanted paths inside. Downloads invite malicious code. Portable devices can be physically stolen, and data living only on a client is often never backed up. Each of these is a crack a distributed design opens that a monolithic one simply did not. Picture a mansion with 100 windows instead of a single fortified door. How do you safeguard all those endpoints? By layering policies and controls over every client, screen, email, and downloads so they cannot smuggle in malware. Enforce strong access controls, including multi-factor authentication and encrypt files, especially full drive encryption on anything portable. Lock screens after a timeout, separate high privilege processes from ordinary ones, and segment the network so one compromised client cannot topple the rest. Label sensitive materials, back up client data centrally, train users continually, and fold desktops into disaster recovery and continuity planning. To apply all this consistently, image a properly configured device and roll that baseline out everywhere. Think of issuing every employee the same locked, standardized toolkit rather than letting each rig their own. What is endpoint detection and response? It is the evolution of traditional antivirus, intrusion detection, and firewalls into one smarter guard on the device. It works to detect, record, evaluate, and respond to suspicious activity, whether that activity comes from bad software or from users behaving badly. It is really continuous monitoring focused on both the endpoint itself and the traffic reaching it. Some versions analyze on the device, others report to a central or cloud engine. The goal is to catch advanced abuses that ordinary antivirus misses, cut false positives, and respond faster to incidents. Picture a vigilant security camera that not only records but recognizes trouble and sounds the alarm on its own. How does this expand into the broader detection family? Through several related acronyms worth distinguishing. Managed detection and response is a service that watches your whole environment in real time, not just endpoints, blending technologies like log management, traffic analysis, and endpoint tools. An endpoint protection platform is the more proactive cousin of endpoint detection, adding a predict and prevent emphasis rather than just detect and respond. An extended detection and response is not a single tool but an integration of these ideas into one solution, reaching beyond endpoints to network analysis and intrusion functions too. Think of upgrading from one camera to a staffed monitoring service to a full command center watching every feed at once. Who runs all this when you cannot? A managed security service provider. Such a provider can deliver these advanced detection and response solutions under central management, deployed on your premises, in the cloud, or as a hybrid. Their operations are often overseen from a security operations center, which may itself be local or remote. The payoff is that you gain access to sophisticated tools and, just as importantly, to seasoned security professionals you would struggle to hire and keep in-house. Picture hiring a professional security firm to staff and run your control room around the clock, rather than training your own night watch from scratch. So let's bring it together. Endpoint security holds each device responsible for itself because one weak machine endangers everyone. Distributed computing, scattered data and processing across countless clients and servers, opening vulnerabilities a central system never had. You counter them by layering policies, encryption, access controls, segmentation, backups, training, and consistent imaging. Detection has evolved from plain antivirus into endpoint detection and response, then into a wider family of managed, preventive, and extended solutions, which a managed provider can run for you. Secure the edges as carefully as the core. In the next part, we turn to cabling, topologies, and transmission media. The MCQs covering all the topics and concepts from this session are available on rucloud.com. Practice the chapter-specific MCQs before moving on to the next session. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or feedback, post a comment below or email us. I will see you in the next session.